Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast, episode number 12. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
So, Dan, it has been a miserable collection of results over the last couple of days.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it?
I mean, it's really been framed by that defeat at home to Crawley. We lost 3-1. It was a glorious Good Friday lunchtime game, and yet it was absolute tud.
Yeah, it was not a Good Friday.
No.
Very Good Friday if you're a Crawley supporter.
Yeah, if you're a fan of weak defending and sloppy goalkeeping.
And time wasting.
Yeah, it was good for those things.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of free-flowing football and confident red and white teams and wins that will propel us into the playoffs, it was a terrible Friday. What went wrong? 3-1 at home we lost.
What did go wrong? All sorts of things.
I mean, problem number one, and I don't mean to alarm anyone at home, but Grecian the Lion appears to have lost his shorts.
Yeah, he seemed to be sort of Porky Pig style.
Porky Pig Lion.
Well, what I mean is like a top on, but then no bottom.
It didn't make any sense.
Kid at the beach.
What I'd imagine happened is they're in the tunnel and Sweeney or, I don't know, Moxie, Woodman, Bowman, anyone, they've had one too many ice cream on Maundy Thursday, one too many hot cross buns, and their short elastic has pinged, gone.
Oh, I've left my shorts at home.
For shorts at home, Dad. And so up steps, as always, selfless Grecian the Lion with his shorts and takes them off without a care in the world for his own dignity.
Yep.
Passes them over.
Can't you get some from the club shop? Oh no, they've sold out because of the big sale.
So it was a big embarrassment for Grecian the Lion. No shorts.
Well, no, I don't think he seemed embarrassed at all.
He embraced it.
Well, the look on his face was...
like a toddler in the paddling pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kid at the beach, yeah. Porky Pig.
I mean,
I liked it.
He does always have that face.
Owned it.
So anyway, that happened. Disaster number one. And then the first half of football was dreadful.
Oh, my word. Yeah. It's so...
If you missed it, listeners...
You couldn't make it up,
well
really,
done.
Could you? I mean, you could, because this is the sort of thing that happens to Exeter City and sort of in this division all the time. But how have we managed to go from just, like, having such a consistent, solid defence
Yeah.
to having, you know, whatever that was? The opposite.
And it's not even like we're in a phase. It's not like, oh, we were good and then something happened and since then we've kind of, you know, gone into a different phase.
No.
It seems to be like week on week or game on game. You can't even tell who's going to turn out.
No, I mean...
Or rather how they're going to play.
I mean, perhaps pressure of the kind of, you know, pressure of not living up to people's expectations, or I don't know.
Maybe.
Because within that as well, it's hard to sort of like go terrible performance by insert name here, because it was sort of like it wasn't necessarily that they played badly for the whole game and did nothing right. There's like plenty of good defending, and then just little lapses where it's like, what's happened there?
Yeah.
I mean, let's go through them on what were the... So there's the first goal.
Well...
So Jake Taylor gives the ball away, and then they're in, and then there's not much anyone behind him can really do about it from that point. And now we've like defended Jake a lot on this podcast so far.
Yeah.
And I would definitely continue to do so. And I think some of the opinions on him that you see, I mean, online and around the ground, I think are really unfair. But I'm not going to put myself in a position of defending that sort of mistake there, because, you know, what can you do? And it did cost us. It's a mistake, didn't have to do it. Didn't have to do that.
And what kind of... It's not just like something was working really well and, you know, a mistake happened in the process. So, you know, you put your foot in a pothole or your pass goes awry. It seemed almost that he hadn't thought to himself, I'm going to need to do something quickly here.
No.
There was a...
Well, there was a big lack of urgency, I thought, in the whole performance, especially from the kick-off, we didn't look like, come on, let's go for it. We got to win this game. It didn't look like that at all. You know? But if I was going to defend Jake Taylor, which I suppose I am, it would be that he's not a defensive midfielder. I don't think that's where he naturally sort of fits into a side, and that's sort of the job he's been asked to do. So maybe that would be where I'd stick up for him, in the fact that that's not his best position. He's better like when he's coming in and getting into the box, although, I mean, we come on to the next game later where he did actually miss a pretty good chance, didn't he? But like when he did get into the box. But anyway.
I think the thing that troubles me about that midfield is I don't know if any of them are playing in their right position or rather playing in the system that's best suited for them.
Probably not. Actually.
Kind of waiting for Nicky Law to come back, waiting for Boateng to come back. Taylor's obviously been constant throughout, but that's worth bearing in mind. He's been there for the good things as well as the bad things.
Yeah. I think Boateng probably in the whole is probably his best position. But then, I know we kind of like waxing lyrical about that goal, and like rightly so, but sometimes, I mean, you see news articles linking him away to bigger clubs, and you think, I don't believe it. I mean, not unless he needs to prove himself at this level way more consistently if he's going to be like playing football higher up the divisions. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely right. And so the second goal was just kind of chaos on the edge of the box for Crawley. So City are 2-0 down in about half an hour, wasn't it? I don't know the times to hand, but it was early on. It was grim. It was a grim game of football to that point. And then actually Crawley didn't look brilliant. We'd made them look good by being silly. And then Boateng has the ball comes to him 6 yards out most, and it's an open goal.
6 yards is being very generous. Okay. It's more like 1.
I mean, it's mad. And so I was sat at that end of the new old grandstand, and we couldn't really see because there were a lot of bodies in the way, and so you didn't kind of know. So you thought maybe it's taking a deflection. Nothing.
No.
He hit the crossbar when it was much harder to miss than it was to score.
Yeah.
And you think you did that absolute wonder goal a week ago, and now you're doing this, and then it never came down again to go in. So we're 2-0 in, 2-0 down, going in at half time, and it felt terrible. It felt like
It felt bad, but rescuable probably at that point. Still,
rescuable
at half time.
That's a good shout. Yeah.
And then we came out second half and we did look a lot better, didn't we? For immediately we were like, oh, here's some urgency.
Yeah.
Finally, this is how they should have come out from the first minute. The way we started in the second half, that's how we should have started from the first minute of the game. And we looked a lot better. We scored with that pressure.
Shout out to Ryan Bowman, sponsored by Casper's Ice Creams, who got his first goal in front of the Big Bank, and it was a really well taken goal. Yeah. And I thought, he made that not happen out of nothing, but it certainly wasn't a certain goal when he picked it up.
No, it's difficult. It's a difficult
35
one.
yards
out. It's a difficult one, but it was all a result of like we just looked for that 10 minutes. It looked like we were tearing them apart.
Here's what I find weird about City, because you're absolutely right. In those 10 minutes, what we did was we had the ball at our feet. We played sensible balls. If there was a good pass on, we took it, but we didn't rush into it. But it seems like, and I guess it's pressure, and I guess it's immaturity, when the time's running down and we're still behind, we'll pass it, great. It doesn't go anywhere because the team's managed to organise themselves because our passing's not as quick as it perhaps could be or whatever.
But the other thing, they're 2-0 up, so you just sit back.
Yeah, but then we can only, it seems like we struggle, and so do the crowd, but I don't think it's necessarily the crowd's fault. We struggle with waiting for the better pass. So instead of thinking, okay, we'll just play it across. So it's the fashion at the minute, isn't it? Play it from one side to the other, one side from the other, back and back. Instead of doing that kind of rapidly so that we create space, we do it a bit, not very rapidly, and then we just put it over the top anyway. And it's just, you think you've got the skills to do this, and when you're doing it well, it really works. Yeah. Bowman's goal being an example of that.
I know a thing that frustrates the crowd and me as well, and I'm not even suggesting that it's this simple and this is what they need to do, but it does look like it looked like a lack of options when people like Law have got the ball or Taylor or whoever. It's like, where's the runs?
Yeah.
Where are these? Who's making these runs in?
So we're 2-1 down.
Yeah. But
then
things are looking up.
Things are looking up, and Lee Martin is introduced, and he's great. He's great at making those options, at running, at tracking back. Because inevitably, at this level, you're going to lose the ball sometimes.
Yeah.
But compare Martin to some of our other midfielders. He wants to get it back. He wants to make up for that mistake, but also he sees the opportunity in trying to win it back.
He's all over the place, isn't he? And you think probably against a more organised team that might not necessarily be something that would be in our favour. But when you're playing teams like someone like that, like Crawley, at beatable teams, like who play in a way where that, he's good to have in there, and but by all accounts was good at Stevenage, on Monday as well. But the third goal was the one and all three were sloppy goals to concede and goals that were very avoidable. But the third one for me, I remember I was at the Big Bank, so it's at the other end, and it's just like we were doing that a lot last season of just standing off on when they're like around the edge of our penalty area and almost inviting them on to go oh come on then run at us and have a shot. But it was suicidal, and Sweeney, who has looked a bit better recently, I think, in certain aspects of his game, just like you give him so much space. He's asking this guy have a crack, have a shot, go for it.
Yeah,
and he did, and I think maybe you could maybe Pim could have done better, but I think probably he didn't see it until a bit too late, and it's.
I although you want keepers to say those kind of things, I never feel like you can blame the keeper when the attackers had a lot of time. I think
no, and it was the classic cutting in goal using the defender as a bit of a shield, and then just like I think probably it was Sweeney or someone else who was blocking the Pim's view of it. So I mean, it shouldn't come down to that shot should have been,
No, it never should have been a shot.
No, you've got to close teams down around the edge of the box. Just put your foot in. Maybe give away a free kick. Giving away a free kick is a lot better than letting someone have a shot. But I think from open play, because it's League Two. No one can really score free kicks, can they?
No.
I mean, we definitely can't. Not since Grimes left.
Well, so that was a miserable day in the sunshine. I felt really disappointed because A, come on, playoffs are here. B, good turnout, over 5,000.
Yeah, it's really good.
Really good. Nice to be there in the sun.
Yeah. Well, it just looked like to me, game finished, I was like, oh, right, yeah, we're not good enough. We're not good enough to get promoted. That's what it felt like at the time. And I'm not saying that's my, hard and fast position on that, but I just mean that's what it felt like at the end of the game. How are we going to go up? We're going to play like that.
Yeah. And what are we going to do when we do go up? Like, we don't want to be just completely embarrassing.
I'm not even worried about that.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you're right, though,
where are we heading? Like,
yeah.
if this is our standard.
Yeah, I think probably, like, you have to give say it happens, we do get promotion somehow. You got to give Matt Taylor that summer then to go, like, to be able to come up with something, you know? And I wouldn't be going like, oh yeah, but with this team we're going to get crucified. He's like, yeah, well, he's probably got plans in place for that. And
absolutely. What concerns me is why are we starting a game like that? Like, it can't. I don't know. I've never been a professional footballer. You've never been a professional footballer. Most of our listeners won't ever have even had the chance of being a professional footballer. But surely, in any job you're doing, there are these moments where you're like, this is what I'm in it for. And you want to give the best of yourself in that. And I don't see how that wasn't a perfect opportunity to show, like...
Yeah, like I said, is it pressure? I don't know. I mean, these things can affect maybe something like that. Is that letting him off the hook? I don't know.
Something like Taylor's mistake, I could think, like, that's pressure. Okay, he's panicked.
Yeah. Well, we see that. You see that those sort of things happen. Let's look at that Man City Spurs Champions League game the other day.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Christian Eriksen did something very similar.
Yeah.
Managed to get away with it in the end because of with the VAR, but that's someone at the very top level. So it does happen,
of course,
and in huge environments like that. And I'm not saying obviously this is nowhere near as big, but it's still a pressurized. This isn't like a game in October or something where this is a one that really matters.
Yeah. And so I get the pressure thing, and I get those kind of mistakes. What worries me is why aren't they like firing out of the blocks? Why aren't they wanting it, like in a way that, I think Bowman and Lee Martin, it's not all about this, and I'm not stupid enough to think it's all about this, but sometimes games of football are really, really influenced by how hard you run after a ball in the first 5 minutes, and the crowd sees you doing that, and everyone knows that. That's not revelationary by me. That's not a word. And yet, in that situation, why isn't the instruction or the mindset? Maybe they might well have been told by Taylor, "Come on," but why isn't it then applied by most of the team?
No.
Like Craig Woodman, I get it, he's a one-hand clap kind of guy. I get that, but
they certainly weren't fired up for it, were
no,
they?
they weren't fired up for it. And so, you think about Coventry City at Wembley last year, and I think like that was a team that were fired up for it, and the crowd got fired up by it, and we lost that game as soon as they scored their first goal, because the noise of the crowd, you can't compete with this.
Yeah.
And Crawley brought about 10 people in it. They all came down in one minibus, shared with the team, by the look of it. No one there. And that would have been, that game could have been won in the first 20 minutes by them thinking, we can't compete with this.
Yeah.
And yet nothing. So, there we are. So that was a very bad Friday.
We hate Argyle, yeah, we hate Argyle. We hate Argyle, yeah, we hate Argyle. We hate Argyle, yeah, we hate Argyle. We are the Argyle haters. We hate Argyle.
And we fast forward to Easter Monday. Was the resurrection going to happen again? City went into the game having eroded really most of their amassed safety net in the playoffs in 7th place. And Stevenage, I hold my hands up, I openly mocked their playoff chances just 2 weeks ago, and yet a win against us on on Monday would have actually put them right up with us. So suddenly the game took on all sorts of other connotations, and by all accounts, City approached it in a much better way than the Crawley game just 2 days earlier.
Well, it definitely sounded like that, even though we went down a goal early again.
And that was chaos. And you don't want to blame the young lad, but Collins just didn't pick up on the ball that landed on his feet, basically.
Is it Collins? Wasn't it
Archie
O'Shea?
Collins? Was it O'Shea?
Right on the goal line. Well, there's a few things you can pick out there. Pym could have come and got that.
Yeah.
Is he not coming for stuff now after he got sent off the other day? I don't know. I doubt it somehow. It doesn't seem like he's that kind of character. And that's unlikely to happen again because it was wrong by the referee. But, I don't know. There are all so many things wrong with that. Yeah. I mean, the one main thing, and this is it's such a shame, isn't it? No Troy Brown.
Yeah.
Not on the bench. Can only assume he's hurt himself again, or there's something wrong, because he gets his head on everything.
Yeah.
And maybe if he's in there.
Yeah.
And if it was Dara O'Shea, then
no, you're right. It was O'Shea on the line. I think that was
okay.
But I think that was a midfield mistake.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. But these are young players, aren't they? And they, even someone like Dara O'Shea, who we kind of are really holding up as this kind of been an excellent player for us this season, but he's only a kid.
Yeah.
And that's why he's here, to learn from, to sort of make mistakes and learn from them and become a better player, really.
Yeah.
And so they are going to happen. And when, if you choose to have a kid an inexperienced person in defence, then they're going to make mistakes, aren't they?
So we did. So we were 1-0 down, but actually we recovered pretty quickly.
It really seemed like the response from that was the urgency and the kind of that being fired up that we were just talking about was missing on Good Friday. We didn't make the trip this year.
I couldn't bear the thought of it in what I think of as my mind as the Lamex Stadium. I can't speak.
The Studium, the Lamex, the Lamex Stadium.
Yes, yeah. I was going for the lame joke, but yeah, there we are. Turns out I'm the lame one. So I just couldn't bear the thought of it, to go to the Lewis Hamilton home ground. But sounds like it was, couldn't have been any worse, could it, than last season?
No.
And they responded well, and Bowman with another goal.
Yeah. So as people have been saying, us included, he needed to get off the mark, didn't he? And then the goals would come, and they have done.
Yeah.
He also had another goal disallowed for offside. So that, had he scored that one and the one a couple of weeks ago, I mean, I'm pretty sure they both were offside, but at least he's still...
Yeah.
This one especially, it wasn't like he mistimed his run and is like, you've got to, someone where that's something he needs to work on necessarily, but because it was one of those ones where, which phase of play is it? Everyone's very congested in the box, a shot, and then he happens to be... Yeah. It's not like he's mistimed a run.
No. He's stood in a place.
Yeah, and it's
because the shot comes
He's only
back.
a whisker offside anyway.
Yeah, so it's great to see Bowman scoring. And another player that actually I thought his running kind of worried Stevenage was Williams.
Randell. Oh, and the effort off the bar, if that had gone in.
Hit the bar, and had another one that was very close to the left-hand post. So Williams and Martin and Bowman, they're kind of positive stories at the moment.
Yeah, it seemed like, from what people have been saying, that and the commentary as well, that it almost, and it's a shame it didn't result in a win, but it seemed to be like Randell Williams' kind of arrival, if you want. The first game that he's really been like, okay, this guy, this is what showing us what he's capable of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hell of an effort.
Yeah.
One,
so I'd love to see him getting one, but at least that's some goals coming up front now. Because we're no longer having the conversation of where a goal's coming from, which we were having.
But we are still we're still not, and like that, it's very close when you hit the bar, but we're still not making the most of our opportunities. If you miss those chances, no matter how good they are, if you don't take your chances, and you get punished for it, and you don't get the results, and we've got 1 point from those 2 games, and
really should have had 6. I mean, if we'd managed to collect, I don't want to go on about this, but no one's playing well.
No one wants this, do they?
No one wants this. But if we'd picked up a full 6 points from those 2 games, we'd be 1 point below Tranmere.
They're all over. They've been...
I called
they're
them...
really inconsistent as well at the moment, aren't they?
Absolutely. Regular listeners will recall that I called Tranmere as to be likely for automatics. Well, it shows what I know, because they've sunk rapidly.
Everyone around there is just like... we could be well out of this by now if everyone else wasn't so inept as well.
I mean,
it's almost as if we're playing in the 4th tier of English professional football.
Yeah, it's almost like other countries realise you can't have 4 tiers of professional football and so don't bother. But there we are. So to remind us of the table, Dan, Lincoln promoted, 85 points.
Champions, no less.
And, I mean, well deserved. They've been much more consistent than anyone else, hence the points tally.
I'd rather not have a trophy.
Bury in second.
Reed's face. See that picture of Reed's face?
I see it when my eyes are closed, unfortunately. Bury in second, 77 points. Mansfield now in third, 76 points. MK also with 76 points in fourth. Forest Green, fifth place, 73 points. Tranmere, they're in sixth with 72 points. And then we're some way behind now in seventh with 66 points. So, just to conclude, we're 5 goals and 6 points behind Tranmere. So, unless Tranmere basically don't do anything, maybe, like those games when Scotland had to play some Eastern European team and the other team weren't even there.
Oh, yeah.
If Tranmere somehow managed to do that, we might have a chance of catching them, but I would consider it very unlikely that we're going to score 5 more goals than them and get 6 points while they get none. So, our very best hope is 7th place, which is the lowest playoff position. But...
well, this maths is hurting my brain.
Sorry. All you need to know, really, is we're not getting any higher than 7th.
No.
What you do need to know is that there's every chance that we could drop down to, 11th quite easily. So below us, on the same games, are Colchester and Carlisle with 64 points, 2 less than us. Stevenage the same, actually. So that's 3 teams, 2 points behind us on the same games. Then you've got Newport, also on 64 points, so 2 points behind us, but they've got a game in hand. Now, so that means, essentially, we've blown it. The only saving grace is Newport have got to play Lincoln on Saturday.
So all of this says to me, this is madness at the top. I mean, it's not anything quite compared to League One, which is even crazier, but no one's consistent. No one seems like they really want it enough, even though, it's a stupid thing to say, I'm sure they do. But we just need to win. That's what it comes down to. If we want to get promoted, we just need to win. And unfortunately, that's now not
That's
quite
might not
possibly
be
not
enough.
enough.
Yes.
Because if Newport win all their games or whoever else,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what we do. But it's not like we didn't have the chance to kind of like.
Absolutely. If we'd, like we just said, if we'd picked up more than 1 point from the last 2 games, they'd essentially be thinking we've blown it.
Yeah. And it might even be, it'd be well out of everyone else's hands. We've basically given it back. We've given it back to them.
Yes.
So you go. We're not fast. You do it.
And then and
Lincoln, they've already won the league.
Yes.
They've got no. I mean, and they may well still beat Newport. I'm not saying they probably will, but that's not a good position to be in. You're relying on a team to lose against a team who have absolutely no reason to win.
Yes.
Apart from, personal pride or the fact that Newport might just not turn up or whatever. You can't rely on that.
So it's been a very weak end. There's 2 games left. We play Oldham on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then we go to Forest Green the following Saturday. Both of whom, Oldham, they're sitting 12th, but they're only 4 points behind us. So they'll want to win. And they got very good goal average, better than anyone else above them, including us. So they all think we'll come and have a go.
Yeah.
And then we play Forest Green, who might well still be within the chance of automatics on the last day.
Yeah. This is all going down to the wire,
It
isn't
really is.
Everywhere we go, oh, everywhere we go, oh. People want to know, oh, people want to know. Who we are, where we come from, where we come from. Who supports the red and white? Who supports the red and white? We love to sing, we love to fight. We love to sing, we love to fight. Red and white, red and white. Sing and fight, sing and fight.
So, yeah, Stevenage, well, what is there to say? There were some changes, weren't there? So, Williams came in.
Yeah. Lee Holmes out. A couple other changes.
I've got to say, I've been a bit disappointed with Lee Holmes in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
I really rate him as a player. What I haven't understood, and this happened again against Crawley, is this very strange reluctance to cross.
Yeah.
Law's part of that. Sweeney's part of that. And Holmes, I think, has been maybe the main instigator of that. And, a couple of times I've sat on that side watching them. They're 5 metres away from me. And I've thought, he would used to quite happily take it to the byline and whip it in. Whereas now it seems like the ultimate solution for them is, and we've talked about this before, keep on the edge of the box, move along, and then try and have a shot.
Yeah.
Now, we managed to start scoring. Remember, that our main solution to scoring 2 months ago was midfielders getting goals.
Yeah, and that's because there was logic to that because we no longer had a target man. So you're thinking, okay, well, they're not whipping the balls in because why would he bother?
Yes.
But now you've got,
You've got Bowman doing well.
You've got your man Bowman in there.
And also, I just think, like we've said, League Two is not of a standard. If you make a good cross, people panic. How often have we seen goals at St James Park?
Yeah, or as
scramble.
as Stevenage will tell you,
yeah.
it's well worth sticking it in the box and hoping if you don't do anything good with it, that the other team do something bad with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Jay's shoulder off the floor is testament to...
There you go, yeah, exactly.
So I think I can see why Holmes has been dropped. I think he might struggle to come back in now. I thought Williams was good enough on the Monday, and Holmes has been
Well,
poor
I'd definitely
enough.
like to see Williams start on Saturday against Oldham. So, yeah, I swear, and it would have to be for Holmes, I suppose.
I'd like to see Martin, I'd like to see Williams, and Bowman, obviously, I think is a shoe-in now. Collins has been really good this season, and I think that the midfield does need some mixing up. I don't think Law and Boateng work, and obviously Taylor acknowledged that.
Yeah, I don't know though. It's hard, isn't it? Because earlier on in the season, those two that really was working.
What was the difference then? Because Collins wasn't really starting.
Well,
when
the difference
they were
was that I suppose that in the midfield, I don't know.
Stockley changes things. I suppose.
Stockley obviously is the big one, but I don't know what it is. I think both of them are extremely good on their day, and Law Moore is obviously I think is a lot more consistent than Boateng, but does kind of fall into the habit sometimes of just shuttling it from side to side a bit without looking for that. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'd like to see Collins. I think that'd be great.
I'd like to see Kane Wilson feature a bit more.
Yeah, it was strange, isn't it?
Because you talk about urgency, and like, while
he's got some deficiencies.
I am like, his first touch is bizarrely bad. I don't know if it's like, maybe it's deliberate, maybe it's just like knocking it away. But it seems to be every time he comes to it, the ball comes to him, it bounces off him like 4 feet, and he's got to go and pick it up.
I don't
again.
think that's a deliberate thing.
But he does have urgency, and he does have a bit of art, a bit of craft. You know, running into the box, playing little 1-2s, getting into the box, and I think we need that kind of thing. Maybe
I'd agree with that. And
at this point as well, let's point out that I'm not saying he's as defensively strong as probably some other players, and same what you go with like and less disciplined. Same with Lee Martin. Is it not time now that we just go for it? We've got to go for it.
We've got to go for it.
We've got to win our next 2 games.
And
so,
I'm assuming it's over. That's my current assumption. We're not going to Wembley. We're not getting in the playoffs even.
No,
So-
like I said, that's how I felt after Crawley. So yeah.
So let's just have 2 good games. Let's make it look exciting and attacking, and
let's try it. Yeah.
I think every supporter in that ground.
Well, if we're going to mess up at the back, then let's just try and outscore them. Maybe, I don't know. We've got to go for it.
Absolutely, and
there's nothing to lose in a sense, is there? You know,
no, there's nothing to lose, and supporters want to see people going for it, and if you see people going for it and think, yeah, okay, well, we're not very good at the back, at least we've
yeah.
At least we've all had a go.
We've got 2 games left from, I mean, maybe a couple more, but like, Kane Wilson's only here for 2 more games.
Yeah.
So, and he's been really good for us over the last 2 years of the periods he's been here. I'd just like to see that once or twice more, just get him on there and just say like, go and cause,
Yeah.
see what you can do.
Yeah, and I think that's something that worries people. Martin, Wilson, I think that, and Bowman, who's actually more conservative in a sense, like you know what he's going to do, but you just kind of can't stop him.
Yeah.
I'd like to see those 3. I think that's kind of would shake things up a bit. We'll see. The question now for me is what next season looks like in terms of teams, in terms of players, in terms of kind of approach, really. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that some more after this.
Cool.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
So what have we got? So of our current squad, we've got some players that we own. We've got some players that we don't own. Dara O'Shea and Kane Wilson, both West Brom players. I'm assuming, particularly O'Shea, will go back to West Brom. Although actually, maybe it's not as certain as it would have been a few months ago.
What's happened with the West Brom? I can't keep an eye on all football, so I'm not really sure about the Championship.
Their caretaker man still in.
But where are they? Are they going up, or are they looking
Their
like playoffs?
Yeah, you're right. So West Brom are secure in 4th place. They might drop down to 5th, but that's their likelihood. So they'll be in that semi-final draw. Whether they'll go up or not, it kind of depends on Leeds, I think.
Yeah.
If Leeds are in those playoffs, I think they've got to be favourites.
I don't think we can. This is all kind of academic in it, because we have to assume that they're not coming back, those players, because they're supposed to be progressing. They've both been good. If we don't go up, why are they coming back again to a League 2 team?
Yeah.
So let's just assume they're gone. I think we should probably cover this in like a whole, when the season's done, we'll do a comprehensive kind of like summary of like what we think the team's going to look like next season. But yeah, in brief, I think probably, there's Williams. We're going on the back of one game essentially, but from last week. But I am saying that Williams is he's an Exeter City player, just signed. So and Bowman. Who else? And Lee Martin. Hopefully, if he can sort of leave those injuries behind him.
Yeah. Fort presumably is. I don't know. I just don't know what's happened to him.
Well, it looks like might be it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? I hope not, because it'll be a real shame for him. But
anyway, listeners, if you've got opinions on who you'd like to see stay or move on, who you'd like us to bring in, or what position you'd like to see covered in the future, who you think might be sold, or any young players that you know we've got. Maybe you've seen them out on loan. Some of our young players are at places like Tiverton and Taunton. And
there's Ben
Dorchester
Seymour
at
in
the
there.
minute.
We've not
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
about much of this before, but again, I think we'll come around to this. But yeah, it'd be good to have some people's thoughts on that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
let your eyes be our eyes. Tell us what you're seeing.
What does Exeter City of the future look like?
Oh, nice.
Robots.
Remember, you can get in touch with us about our robotic football club via all the normal places. You can email us, bigbankpod@gmail.com. You can get in touch on Twitter @bigbankpod. And you can find us on Facebook as well. I want to know what happened to Grecian the Lions short, and I'm pretty sure that he's a listener. So let us know, or if anyone's got any wild theories, I'd love to hear them. We are approaching the end of the season, but don't worry, we'll be here with you until the bitter end. Nothing will go unanalysed.
Well, apart from all the stuff we've definitely missed and forgotten about, and were too sort of ignorant to even realise was happening at the time.
Apart from that stuff.
All
Apart
that
from that
stuff
stuff being missed.
We are going to miss all
Nothing.
that stuff, but everything else is all in there, and it's going to keep coming in. And we'll do a couple of things in the off season. Do they call it that? Isn't that Americanism?
Yeah,
In the summer.
In the
when
summer.
there's no football on.
the cricket season.
Yeah.
We won't be covering cricket, though.
I
But,
wouldn't know where to start.
well, you can get in touch with us about those things. But yeah, stick with us. This has been the Big Bank Theory podcast. We'll speak to you again next week after City play Oldham on Saturday at St James Park. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Yeah, cheers.
See you soon.